Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Halloween. I am semi-retired Bob. I talk about the carnivore diet and all things related to the carnivore diet. Today's not actually Halloween, but you'll see this tomorrow, which means it'll be Halloween when you see this. I saw a pretty funny meme a few days ago, and I'm going to see if I can't get it right here. It says, "You're fine." It says we have the holidays coming up. We've got a candy holiday, and then we've got a get together with friends and eat way too much holiday. And then we have another get together with friends and family and eat too much. And it's also a candy and cookies and cakes kind of holiday. And then we have a get together and booze it up holiday. They call all this flu season instead of eating way too many carbs season or something like that. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of funny. But to all of you who are new here and all of you that are returning, I just want to say thank you for stopping by. I do really appreciate you being here. And if you made it through that really horrible first minute and a half there, means you've got a high tolerance for someone like me. So why don't you go ahead and subscribe? It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. But if you don't want to, that's okay too. If I say something today that you think a friend of yours might like, or a friend of yours might need this information, feel free to go ahead and share this out with your friends on your social media, or just send them a link in their email. Whatever it is you do, but it certainly helps the channel, helps me get my message out. Today we're going to talk about carb cycling. It's going to be a very short discussion because there's a lot of so-called gurus out there that'll tell you, oh, you got to keep your metabolism flexible so that you can use any kind of fuel. And even if you're doing a carnivore diet, you should probably eat some carbs just before a big heavy workout. Apparently these people have never heard of gluconeogenesis. Your body, if you're providing it with the right amount of protein and fat, can make all the sugar it needs. I'm having a hard time walking today. It's not my shoes. I feel pretty good. And my feet, and my legs, and my back. I forgot to add yesterday after that video about my shoes. My whole body felt pretty good. I think I'm just tired. I didn't sleep too good last night. Has nothing to do with exercise. It was Pastor Appreciation Day. It's been Pastor Appreciation Month. But they had someone, the church staff, picked someone from each year that pastor's been here and had him prepare a little speech. And I was one of those people. And I thought the speech itself went very well, and once I got up there it was okay, but laying in bed last night, sitting there thinking about having to get up on the stage and talk to the entire church, had my stomach in kind of knots. You wouldn't think I would have a problem with that because I talk to you guys every day. But if I make a serious mistake or say something stupid into my camera, I can edit it out when I get it into my computer. Standing up in front of the whole church, that was live. There's no going back and editing that. And so I didn't sleep very well. And then of course, they had a potluck going on in between services today. Because, you know, one of the requirements for joining the Baptist Church is to own a 9x13 baking dish. It just is. But I hadn't planned on eating anything today because I had that huge roast yesterday. But just all the smells and everything coming off the food made me really hungry. So I had just a small little bit. I had 6 of those little mini sausages that they traditionally, they put them in a crock pot with a bunch of sauce. I scraped all the sauce off as best I could, but I can tell I got a little bit. And I don't feel very good. So I'm sure it's just a little blip on the radar, because like I said, it was just, I don't even remember if I had 4 or 5, just those little tiny, like smoky sausages, which of course is not on my lion diet that I'd set for this month. Which is why I had that big roast yesterday. But now that all the food's packed up and everybody's gone home, except for there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 or 5 cars left in the parking lot. One of the buses is back. One of them is still out. But now that all the food's packed up, I can tell I'm not actually hungry. It's amazing what even just smelling that food will do to you. Even after all this time. I initially had thoughts about really blowing it because they had some wonderful looking cupcakes. A great big ball of icing on top. Just sounded real good smelling all that food. But I talked myself out of that when I saw most of the kids that were grabbing those. They picked them up, and because it was a little warm out, all the icing kept falling off the top of these cupcakes all over the parking lot. So I thought, well, it's just going to fall apart on me. I don't want it. I didn't really want it anyway. It was just me being affected by the food. So anyway, back to carb cycling. I'm going to defer to Bart K on this, because he is, when it comes to an expert on nutrition, what the body needs, what the body has to have. Bart K is the expert. I should say Professor Bart K, because he is an actual research scientist, as opposed to somebody that took a 10 or 15 hour class on how to be a health and exercise coach. And to put it in his words, or something very close to his words, the total nutritional, physiological need for carbohydrates ingested via the mouth, meaning you eat them as opposed to letting your body make them. The total absolute requirement of carbohydrates is not 1 gram ever. Of course, most of you guys already knew that. You knew where I was going with this before I even started talking. And we've talked about all of the gurus and how you go about picking someone to follow on YouTube and all of that. Be very careful listening to people who are talking about stuff that are out of their lane, so to speak. If you're going to talk to somebody, or if you're going to listen to somebody, I'm sorry about that. If you're going to listen to somebody about how to get rich, are you going to listen to me? A guy whose retirement income barely covers the bills? Or are you going to listen to a guy like Warren Buffett? Well, I would hope that if you're seeking financial advice, that you would go see a guy like Warren Buffett. The example Dr. Barry has used a lot, if you're going to look for a mechanic, are you going to go and ask your next door neighbor to fix your car when he's got 6 or 7 cars sitting in his parking lot, in his driveway, that he can't make run? Really? Well, maybe if you're broke and he offers to do it for free and you've got tons of time, then maybe you go down that route. But for the most part, if you need your car fixed, you're going to go to a guy whose personal vehicle starts up and goes all day, every day. So, if you're looking for diet and exercise advice, I would at least go talk to somebody that knows what they're talking about and also knows when not to talk about something. You know, I try real hard to never talk about stuff that I don't know about. And while I believe with all of the research and videos I've watched and everything that I've done to investigate this diet over the last almost 6 months, and actually it was a couple of months before that when I started researching it. But I'm quite confident that I know more about this subject than 80 or 85% of the people out there. But there are a lot of things that I'm not going to talk about because I'm an old retired I am sorry, there was a problem out on the highway. One of the gals had some of the leftover food on the back seat of her car, and as she pulled out of the parking lot, apparently it spilled all over the inside of her car. Maybe when she comes to work tomorrow, I'll offer to run it into town to the car wash for her and have the people that do that kind of stuff professionally take care of it. See, when you want something done or you need advice on something, go to people that know what they're talking about and know what they're doing. But as I was saying, there are certain subjects that I'm just not going to cover them because who in the world would listen to an old truck driver about scientific stuff? Even though if you fact checked me, you'd find out that I'm absolutely correct. It just doesn't make any sense. So why would you go? I mean, you wouldn't go to a psychiatrist and ask him about health and nutrition advice, would you? Would you? Of course not. That would be dumb. So anyway, just remember, there's a lot of people out there that are talking about carb cycling and how you can keep your metabolism flexible by, eating some carbs every once in a while. I haven't even listened to their channels enough to know how often they're suggesting you do that. But for the average American, that's just dumb. Now, as I understand it, There are some that say if you're training on an Olympic or professional sports level, you may need to use some carbs. But I'm not even sure that's right. Because if I remember right, Dr. K, or Professor K, was working with a rugby team once upon a time on how to train and how to eat. And I don't think he had them eating any carbs. And yet they still won their rugby league that year, I believe. So I'll let you do your own research on this. But as far as I'm concerned, you don't need any carbs. Not ever. And if the weather forecast stays the same, I am definitely going to try and get over to the park tomorrow. I've already got my laundry loaded up in the back of my truck. A couple of things I forgot were delivered by Amazon today. I got some laundry soap and I got some clothes hangers so I can hang up some of my clothes on my bar in there, so I don't have to constantly get the bags out from underneath my bunk. But so I'm going to go into town as soon as I wake up tomorrow and go to the laundromat that's right on the edge of town. So it's about a 6.5, 7 mile drive into the laundromat. And Monday shouldn't be horribly busy. Hopefully I can get in and out of there before it gets too busy. And then I'm going to go to the park and see what kind of trail I can find to walk over there. Because I like this parking lot. It's flat. It's a lot safer than being out on the highway. And I'm glad I finally took my own advice. Because if you remember back at the start of the September challenge, I said we want to try and be 1% better, but we also don't want to risk hurting ourselves. So be careful as you push on for that 1% so you don't hurt yourself. Now, getting hit by a car is not exactly the same as pulling a muscle in your leg. But if I had to choose, I think I'll choose a pulled muscle over getting hit by one of those logging trucks. That's just me. You might decide that you'd rather get hit by a logging truck. That was supposed to be a joke. But anyway, I've done about 4.5 laps already. I think I'm keeping a fairly decent pace today. But just like yesterday's video, I'll record a couple more laps, put some music in, finish up with some final thoughts. So don't forget to either hang around to the end or skip to the end, whichever you prefer. But for now, let's cue the music. Hey, cut the music. Thank you. So what we've decided today is that now, and again, as always, I'm talking to my audience. 40, 50, 60, even 70-year-olds plus. There's no reason for us to consume carbs. Not 1 gram ever. If you're younger, more metabolically stable, or you're training at an elite level, like that defensive end for Ohio State, it just almost single-handedly ruined Penn State's day. If you're one of those people, you'll have to do some more research on your own. Because I'm not willing to say you definitely need carbs, because I don't think you do. But don't forget to get out there and be 1% better today, folks. There should be a video over here to talk about the entire October challenge. Another one over there that you've never seen before. Have a great day, everyone. Happy Halloween. I will see you tomorrow.